shareholders at Fonterra. We've obviously been deliberating over this decision for quite some time now, and pivotal to our decision is what's in the best long-term interest of our farmers and our suppliers. So thanks for turning up today, and we appreciate you being here. So any questions you might have, we're happy to take.
What sort of changes do you anticipate to the New Zealand side of operations?
Yeah, look, so the Lactalis are an important partner of us already, but also growing that business internationally. So from their perspective, they're coming in to buy those brands, the businesses and the people. So business as usual on day one.
Marcus, where is bigger in this deal? You've got a proportion of it that's still subject to court case. Can you take us through where they are and how they might be done?
Given we're in that process, it's not appropriate to discuss that. Of course, as you've seen from the announcement, that we have a headline number, but we also have a provision in there subject to where that outcome goes.
When was the deal finalised?
Early hours of this morning.
And what was your reaction when you saw that come through, done deal?
A really pleasing result. As Peter says, pleasing for our farmer shareholders, pleasing for New Zealand. These are long-held brands. You're proud of the brands. But an opportunity to take those sort of to the next level as well, and a partner like Lactalis will do that. Family-owned business, a strong global presence. Circa 90,000 people. They have a strong reputation in the consumer dairy markets, and the fact we can partner with them to take our ingredients to them and they can take it to the next level is something we're really proud of.
A lot of Kiwis will feel emotionally connected to a brand like Anchor. What sort of assurance can you give them today that there's still a connection with that brand?
Well, of course, we have a long-term agreement with Lactalis in terms of the milk and the ingredients that will go into those brands, so that will remain. Of course, when a company like Lactalis invests in a company like this, it's a long-term investment. They're wanting to continue to grow and invest, and they'll be putting cash in behind those brands to take them to the next level. So, ultimately it's their decision from here, of course. But I'm convinced that they'll look to invest behind those brands for the long term.
And there's no one more invested in the emotion than farmers. So today, their head will be fighting with their heart, because logically this is a logical decision for them, but they're so heavily invested in these brands over decades. So don't underestimate how big a deal it is for them, and they've got a big decision to make.
What does this sale mean for dairy farmers in New Zealand?
Sorry?
What does this sale mean for dairy farmers across New Zealand?
It means a lot for them. So, farmers have been required to put capital into Fonterra over time. We're returning some of that capital to them. Okay, so that's really important. It's important for regional New Zealand because that money will be invested back into regional New Zealand, and also they'll retire debt. They'll make different choices, but it is significant material.
You must have surveyed Kiwi farmers about this. What have they said to you?
Oh, there's mixed feelings, but the majority feeling is supportive.
So it's not quite Christmas come early after a bumper year, or are you thinking there is that mixed emotion then?
I think it's mixed because it's not like Christmas come early, because this has been a long journey for Fonterra shareholders, so this is about giving them back some of what, the commitments that they've made to the company over a long period of time. So it is significant for them.
Can you talk us through some of the leftover operations overseas? Can you talk us, you've offloaded Australia and Sri Lanka. What's left of the sort of overseas operation?
Well, of course, we talked for quite some time around our B2B business, our ingredients, our advanced ingredients, and our food service. The majority of that is a New Zealand-based asset footprint. There are some offshore assets in Europe that will continue, but the vast majority is based on New Zealand milk, and that was a strategic decision we made some time ago.
Is there further divestment on the cards, or what can we expect there?
No, I mean we are well through the divestment process. This piece of work's been underway for about 15 months. We talked about that for the last few months, of course. But for us, it's about focusing on B2B, focusing on ingredients, food service, and how we can grow that.
Not very many months ago, the market was sort of seeing 3 billion, maybe 3.2. What were they missing?
Well, I mean, clearly they don't see the value that we were seeing internally, but also what Lactalis is seeing. And they are very strong brands. We've got some fantastic people, some great businesses, great factories. And so, I think that we've seen that value played out that we could see. Markets will always make their own assumptions. The media will make their own calls. Analysts will make their own calls. But we're really pleased with the outcome today.
How does it compare in terms of significance to the Tip Top deal, for example, which a lot of Kiwis would have heard about at the time?
Well, it's sort of Tip Top's about 10% of the size. I mean, that was $380 odd million, I think, if I remember correctly. So, it's about 10% of the size of what we're talking about today.
So this is major.
Oh, it's a very significant deal, and one of the largest, I think, transactions that New Zealand's probably ever seen. So it is a major deal. But what's important is to focus on also, the remaining business that we have here, which is the real strength. It is the strength of what has been the co-op's core for a number of years now, and where the value for us lies: ingredients, B2B, and food service.
In terms of the ingredients, something like Anchor whipped cream, you'll keep the ownership of, is that right?
Yes, so that's a food service business that goes into the out-of-home consumption.
How will you maintain that and make it very clear the difference in those two businesses, and that's not going to get too confusing?
Yeah, so a couple of things there. Firstly, Anchor Food Professionals is the brand that it's sold under in the out-of-home versus Anchor, which is what you'd see on a supermarket shelf. So there is a separation between the two. The other peculiarity here is that in China, Anchor Food Professionals and Anchor are actually seen together, and therefore we have maintained Anchor in the Chinese market, and it is by far our largest business for food professionals.
These guys, whatever.
It's been just a few hours since the announcement. Any initial feedback from farmers?
Yeah, I get a flurry of texts and messages, all positive. So, they know this has been quite a journey. They've obviously heard about some of the value that's been bandied around, and now they've seen a real number. So, I think it's starting to hit home in terms of now they have a decision to make.
How likely is it that it does go ahead?
Yeah, well, firstly, it goes to a farmer vote towards the end of October. We'll be looking for a strong mandate from our farmers, but the early signals, both this morning, but even up until today, has been they understand where the value lies in the cooperative around ingredients, around food service, and therefore there has been general support. Notwithstanding, there will be a big decision for them to make at the end of October.
What is the duration of the supply agreement?
So they vary depending on which products, but they are long term in their nature, and they'll have rollover periods, but long term in their nature.
Liquid milk's 10 years. So,
Just on those then, so if there are reputational issues, if there are supply quality issues, previously you've had complete control and oversight over that. From this deal onwards, you lose some of that. Is that a risk?
I don't think it's a risk, and it comes back to the partner that you choose. And I think that someone like Lactalis that have strong brand presence, they understand the consumer markets, understand what it's like to play in the international markets. So they understand that. There's clearly a risk when you're dealing in a food product, but we have the right controls in place, I think.
Were there serious local contenders for the assets?
Yeah, so we won't get into who the parties were, but I think, to the question here, the value that's come through would suggest that it was a very competitive and contestable process. I won't talk about who they were and where they are globally or domestically, but it was a very contestable process, and we've said right up until actually this morning that an IPO was also on the table, but trade sale has come through at a value that we feel and the board feel comfortable with and moving to the next stage.
So there was a reasonable appetite for the IPO?
Oh, absolutely there was, and we decided, and we've had two streams of work running in parallel, because if one wasn't to go forward, to start one now would be a very difficult and slow process. So we've been running those in parallel to get the best outcome, and I think that's what we've got today.
And Peter, in terms of selling this proposal to your farmers, are you planning a roadshow? What's going to happen over the next month or so then?
Yeah, we've got a series of webinars coming up starting this afternoon and again on Tuesday. We'll be getting out on the road, meeting with farmers. We'll be doing a money through annual results meeting. Often with farmers, when you have a good set of results, you don't get a good turnout, but I think we're going to get one this time. When I compare this consultation to capital structure, I'd say this would be an easier road to go down. So we're looking forward to it.
And just for clarification, do you require 75% or 50%?
No, we require 51%, but we're looking for much more than that, and we're looking for a really high turnout. That's an important part of this.
So generally, of course, we never got to an IPO, of course, but generally a trade sale will bring synergies to that.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that through a partner with Lactalis that have very strong presence in North America, very strong presence in Europe, not a bad presence in Asia, and a less so in the Pacific. And so therefore there are synergies that they can get out of a deal like this by bringing brands together and growing collectively.
What would the impact of this sale mean for Kiwis? Is it going to cost more for the products?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, the competitive environment in New Zealand will remain unchanged.
Yeah.
Have you handled handed Nicola Willis's details to Emmanuel Tessier.
I'm sorry, you have to say that again, Garth.
I just wondered whether you'd passed on any details from the Finance Minister to the Lake Tallis chair.
We have strong engagement with the government of the day and have had conversations in Wellington already this morning.
Yeah.
When did you enter into exclusive negotiations?
Call it 2 weeks ago, I think, give or take, 12 or 14 days ago, we put them into an exclusive process, and as you can imagine, a deal of this magnitude and the different jurisdictions and contracts that are in behind it, it's taken quite some time, but as I said earlier as this morning, the team have finalised that deal.
Are there any guarantees to keep various parts of businesses actually functioning at a local level?
No, I mean that's the level of detail we're not sharing at this point in time, other than to say, you don't spend close on $4 billion with rationalisation in your mind. You spend $4 billion and how you're going to grow that, and so they'll be looking to how they invest to go harder and faster. And that's the conversations I've had with Emmanuel, the chair of Lake Tallis, is that they want to grow that business, they want to grow our partnership, and that's a great news story, I think, for our employees and for those brands themselves.
Made no secret of the fact that you walked out of Australia. Are you pleased to be part of Australia?
Well, we've talked for quite some time that our consumer business in its own right is not core to what we are as a cooperative, and we've shown, I think, in the last couple of years, by being focused, showing where we think we've got a competitive advantage globally, which again comes back to the ingredients of food service, we can go and do things better, and we've proven that. Australia, by and large, is a consumer market. While we collect some milk and we process it into some ingredients in food service, it's by and large a consumer market, and so we're pleased that process is all wrapped up together. We wouldn't call out Australia specifically as a business in its own right, but consumer as a whole was something we wanted to move on at some point.
In terms of the China business, who owns the brand? Do you have a long-term agreement?
Fonterra will continue to own that brand in the Chinese market, and will still be overseen by Taihan Chow.
Once this is done, is this job done for you?
Far from it. I think what this does is it unleashes the cooperative to go harder and faster on our core. And what you're starting to see, and our results will come out in late September for the year we've just closed out. And you'll see that we're delivering on our promises, and I think this gives an opportunity for us to go even harder and faster on that.
I think this starts one of the most exciting phases in Fonterra's history, focusing on our comparative advantage, what we can be the best in the world at, and I think having really deep, meaningful partnerships with our B2B customers is going to create a lot of value. So I think it's a critical turning point for us. Yep.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.